All right, so Yo-Yo's dressed for the impeachment.
Yeah, this is a party.
All right, and the impeachment started today, the trial in the Senate. It's a lot of procedural crap going on. Mitch McConnell is trying to make the impeachment go really fast. He wants the impeachment trial to drag on for 12, 14, 15 hours a day so that the impeachment trial drags on to 2, 3 in the morning when nobody's watching and nobody's paying attention. The Democrats obviously want a longer impeachment. The longer the impeachment, the more evidence that possibly can come out, the more arguments that can be made, the more it would make Donald Trump look like a bad dude.
Right.
So it's really a political process right now. And there's 47 Democrats and 53 Republicans. 4 Republicans got to switch over just to say, we want a longer impeachment process, we want witnesses, and apparently there's enough Republican resistance, at least moderate Republicans, and the reason that who want to have an honest trial. And the reason is that they're all voting. Nobody's voting their conscience here.
Right.
Nobody is yet that I've seen is voting their conscience or taking a position based on the facts.
Right.
They're all taking positions, Democrats, Republicans, moderates, extremists, all based on political calculus, what's best politically for themselves.
Yeah.
Has nothing to do right now with Constitution, fairness, whether you broke the rules or not. It's all one big political process. So the moderate Republicans from moderate states, a lot of their constituents, they flip back and forth. Sometimes they vote Democrat, sometimes they vote Republican. Not solid Republican, not solid Democrat.
Right.
So they don't want to lose their seat in the Senate when they get up for re-election. So they have to really look like they're putting on an honest trial.
Right.
Which is why now Mitch McConnell in the afternoon today, around 3, 4 o'clock this afternoon, decided to extend the impeachment trial for the opening statements for 3 days, 24 hours. Each side gets to make their arguments.
Oh, wow.
Instead of 2 days, and the arguments would have went until 2, 3 in the morning when nobody was paying attention.
Right.
The other thing, which after the opening arguments, is this is going to be the big deal, which is when there is a vote in the Senate on whether to subpoena more witnesses and whether to subpoena additional documents from either the White House, the State Department, the Pentagon, the Office of Management and Budget. We will see if 4 Republicans go along with the Democrats to either request witnesses or to request additional documentation. Now, the Republicans' position is basically, listen, you had the chance to investigate all this in the House. You brought it over here. This is it.
Yeah.
We don't need to ask anymore. The House didn't do it. They rushed it through. And the Democrats' position is, we just needed to get enough evidence to basically impeach him,
right,
which is like an indictment.
Yeah.
We didn't have to win our case in the House of Representatives. It doesn't say in the Constitution, that the Senate shall review the facts determined by the House of Representatives. It says the Senate shall have a trial.
Right.
And if that means additional witnesses, additional documents, so be it. So those are the 2 political arguments. Now, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, she blasted Mitch McConnell earlier with all of these rules trying to shorten this process, trying to get it over with as quickly as possible. Let's watch what Pelosi had to say. It was a video. Well, here's a statement. For weeks, he has insisted that he will adhere to the rules used during the Clinton impeachment trial and that fair is fair. But his proposal rejects the need for witnesses and documents during the trial itself. In contrast, for the Clinton trial, witnesses were deposed and the president provided more than 90,000 statements. Now, Schumer had a statement as well. He said the public is understanding how unfair Senator McConnell's trial rules are, and Republican senators are beginning to tell him to change them. And apparently that is what's going on. Now, the big argument also, besides all this procedure, you know, and it gets really, you know, nitty gritty, this whole procedure thing. So a lot of people don't really pay attention to what was going on today, but it was all arguments over procedure. How long should the trial be? When should the trial start? When should it end? How long does each side get to present?
Right.
But when it comes down to it, the argument is this. Donald Trump is saying, read the transcript, I did nothing wrong. And the Democrats are saying, read the transcript, he was abusing his power. They're both saying, read the transcript, and seeing two completely different things. And the reason they're seeing two completely different things is that the Republicans' position, the lawyers for the Republicans, the lawyers for Donald Trump, say abuse of power is not impeachable. He could abuse his power all he wants. It's not an impeachable offense. And the Democrats are saying, of course it is. And that's really what it comes down to. Now, we said, you know, Harvard professor Alan Dershowitz, you know, famous constitutional lawyer. He was O.J. Simpson's lawyer.
Right.
He joined the team, and he said he argued successfully to the Senate that criminal-like conduct is required, meaning that in order to impeach Donald Trump, he had to have committed a crime. Abuse of power is not a crime. Just like when they said, you know, collusion with the Russians was not a crime. So unless it's in the penal code,
I was going to say,
unless it's in the penal code, so unless Donald Trump went over to the president of Ukraine and took a knife to his throat and said, if you don't give me dirt on any of the Democratic candidates on Biden, I'm going to kill you. I mean, well, then that would be like assault or attempted murder. But short of that, abuse of power is not a crime. That's what the Republicans are saying. So
withholding money and
is not a crime according to the Republicans. What the Democrats are saying, though, is they say that's horse crap.
Right.
Okay. He said Adam Schiff, who is the head of one of the head managers, one of the head guys for the Democrats, congressman who is trying to impeach Trump. He said the logic of what I just told you is absurd position that's now being adopted by Trump is he could give away the state of Alaska. It's not a crime to give away the state of Alaska. He could withhold execution of sanctions on Russia for interfering in the last election to induce or coerce Russia to interfere in the next one. The mere idea of this would have appalled the founders who are worried about exactly this kind of solicitation of foreign interference in an election for a personal benefit, the danger it poses to national security. Even though that is not a crime under a penal code of the U.S. Code of Law annotated, it is still a crime against the Constitution of the United States and is impeachable. That is really where all of these legal arguments are being made. So now in Davos, you know, they have the big meeting in Davos every year. All the rich dudes from around the world, people famous, people rich, people influential, all go to Davos to basically shake hands with each other, mingle. It's like one big cocktail party for the rich and famous, so they could get to know each other and make more business deals. Network. That's basically what it is.
Yes.
So Donald Trump, he was there today, representing the United States. He went to Davos. He spoke before the conference. He did not stay in Washington for the beginning of the impeachment, and he talked about the environment, and he dismissed all these people who are talking about climate change, environmentalists, people who are concerned that our world is changing, it's not changing well, that we're destroying the earth in which we live in. He says that's nonsense. He says they're perennial prophets of doom, all of these people. Let's watch.
To embrace the possibilities of tomorrow, we must reject the perennial prophets of doom and their predictions of the apocalypse.
All right. Can we see pictures of Australia? We got pictures there of Australia? Yeah, okay. We got polar ice caps melting.
Yeah.
We got 65-degree weather in New York last weekend. Don't tell me climate change isn't
volcanoes
real.
erupting and earthquakes.
Well, volcanoes are not climate change, but
How
don't
about the
tell me
earthquakes?
earthquakes are not. What about the animals? Earthquakes are not climate change either.
if it's hot and cold, like it doesn't
No,
that
that's
happen with
it's tectonic plates going underneath the Earth.
Oh.
That has nothing to do with climate
with
change.
weather. I thought
Weather, no. Earthquakes are tectonic changes under the Earth. Volcanoes are also from tectonic changes under the Earth. That's happened forever. But what's changing is the climate in which we live in.
Right.
It's changing the environment in which we live in, and as a result, this is what we get. And for Donald Trump to say in one breath, I love the environment, and in another breath say people who are saying the Earth is warming and they're all prophets of doom, they don't know what they're talking about. Donald, do you look around the world and see what's going on? And two, where is the science behind what you're saying?
Right.
Okay, that's gaslighting. You know, remember I was trying to come up with the word the other day? It's gaslighting.
That was it.
Yes, gaslighting, where you come up with a completely different reality than what everybody is seeing and try to convince people
Right.
that the false reality is actually real.
Yeah.
He gaslights
Yeah.
us. All right? Now, Greta Thunberg, she's the 16-year-old Nobel
Yeah.
Peace Prize winner. Thunberg. She's 17 now, believe it or not. She went to Davos too and spoke right before Donald Trump.
Oh, what?
Yeah, they've been crossing paths a
That's
lot.
hilarious.
Yeah, they've been crossing paths a lot. And now Thunberg accused leaders of cheating and fiddling with numbers, with talk of cutting emissions to net zero or emitting no more carbon than is absorbed by the planet by 2050. But she says nobody's treating this like a real crisis, and basically nobody's trying to solve anything. And we have, speaking on Tuesday, Thunberg brushed aside Trump's announcement that the U.S. would join the forum's initiative to plant 1 trillion trees across the world to help capture carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. That's like the new thing. We're going to plant a lot of trees. She said, planting trees is good, of course, but it's nowhere near enough. It cannot replace mitigation, referring to efforts to drastically cut emissions in the near term. Let's watch.
Today, I'm pleased to announce the United States will join 1 Trillion Trees initiative.
Planting trees is good, of course, but it's nowhere near enough.
All right. And meanwhile, while all of this is happening, it was just reported that 1 million seabirds have died in the oceans in the last 12 months.
Sheesh.
1 million seabirds.
What?
Yeah. Why did they die? Because the water is getting warmer. It is a blob of hot water. Now, the birds, which are a fish-eating species called the common murre, were severely emaciated and appeared to have died of starvation between the summer of 2015 and the spring of 2016, washing up all over the United States' west coast from California all the way to Alaska. And scientists now say they know what caused it, a huge section of warm ocean water in the Northeast Pacific, dubbed the blob. A year-long severe marine heat wave began in 2013, and it was because of El Nino, it was because of climate change. The heat wave created the blob, which was a 1,000-mile stretch of ocean that was warmed 3 to 6 degrees warmer than normal, and that's what killed all of these birds. So, you know, climate change is real.
Yeah.
And Yo-Yo, I'm sure you'll have a lot to say on this. You know, Donald Trump commemorating Martin Luther King Day. Look at Yo-Yo's
Lord
face.
have mercy.
Look at Yo-Yo's face. So before he left for Davos, Donald Trump, he made an unscheduled, unannounced trip to the Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial in the National Mall in recognition of Martin Luther King Day. Now, earlier, Kellyanne Conway told reporters in the briefing room that Trump agrees with many of the things that Dr. Martin Luther King stood for and agreed with for many years, including unity and equality. Now, Conway also suggested Martin Luther King would have opposed impeachment. I don't know how she could possibly know any of this.
Kellyanne would know.
Okay, right. But, you know, this is called gaslighting.
Right.
Okay? When you see the articles of impeachment that came out, I don't think it was within Dr. King's vision to have Americans dragged through a process where the president is not going to be removed from office, is not being charged with bribery, extortion, high crimes, or misdemeanors. It's the same thing. They're saying he didn't commit a crime against the penal code.
Right.
And therefore, he should not be impeached.
That's disgusting to even use his name, though.
Yeah, now...
To try and help their
Now, now, Trump tweeted on the occasion, it was exactly 3 years ago today, January 20th, 2017, that I was sworn into office. So appropriate that today is also MLK Jr. Day. African American unemployment is the lowest in the history of our country by far. Also, best poverty, youth, and employment numbers ever. Great. And therefore, he should be loved by the African American community.
Yeah, sure.
But apparently, he is a little wrong.
Yeah.
The Washington Post just reported 83% of African Americans believe that Donald Trump is a racist.
Yes.
I'm not sure what the other 17% believe, but I don't know what they're watching. And this was a poll conducted between January 2nd and January 8th. More than 8 in 10 black Americans say they believe Trump is a racist, that he has made racism a bigger problem in this country. 9 in 10 disapprove of his job performance. 65% majority of African Americans say it's a bad time to be a black person. By contrast, 77% of black Americans say it's a great time to be a white guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Well, so it's good for me.
Yeah, it is.
Right? Woo! Yeah! Good time to be a white guy.
Yep. It's the truth.
It's a truth!
Yeah.
All right, 77% majority of black Americans say Trump deserves only some or hardly any credit for the 5.5% unemployment rate among black adults. Most black Americans, 54%, say their financial situation stayed the same the past few years. What do you think of Donald Trump taking credit for the lowest unemployment for black Americans in U.S. history, assuming those numbers are correct?
Well, so like with the decline in that, hasn't that been going down for?
It's been declining since Obama.
So that's what I'm saying.
Right. So
the fact that he would even bring that up when none of the past presidents tried to take credit for that is, I mean, it's Trump.
Yeah.
Like,
now under Barack Obama, when he came into office after replacing President Bush, unemployment rate for black Americans was at 16.8%. When he left office, it was at 7.5%.
There you go.
So in 8 years, Obama cut it in half. Trump reduced it from 7.5 to 5.5. But it's also been a good economy. And what I would say to Donald Trump is, show me the policy. Show me, what did you do?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, what was your policy that you specifically did to target minorities and black Americans that you can take credit for in reducing the unemployment rate in the black community?
I agree.
If it just happened under your watch, but you did absolutely nothing.
You can't take credit for that.
You can't take credit for it. So that's what I would say.
No, I totally agree.
I haven't seen anything. That would say that he did it.
I wish somebody would challenge him.
I just did.
But somebody that's in front of him, when he's doing interviews and all the press is there asking questions. I just wish that somebody would say that.
Where's the policy that you can point to that made a difference? Made a difference.
That would shut his up. Ooh. Yeah.
Let me ask you this question. All right. If you went out and bought a couch in a secondhand store, and you took it home with you, and you found $43,000 in cash inside that couch, what would you do? Now, if you bought that couch, I'm going to tell you a little more. What if you bought that couch for $70?
What?
Yes.
That's drug money.
You think so?
Yeah.
Well, Howard Kirby, he went to Habitat for Humanity, which was located in central Michigan. He paid $70 for a secondhand couch. After a few weeks, one of the cushions didn't feel very comfortable.
Oh my God.
So he opened up the cushion, and inside the cushion was not a pillow, but $43,000 in cash.
Can I tell you something?
What?
If this actually happened to me, you wouldn't be reading about it. Ain't nobody knowing. Nobody finding out.
Now, a lot went through his mind. Okay, he said he can pay off his house.
What?
He can get the roof fixed
Look
on
at
his
that
house.
ugly couch too.
He can retire earlier.
What?
He even went to talk to, this is Central
42,000.
Michigan. He even went to talk, there's nothing to buy there.
Right.
Okay, he even went to talk to a lawyer in Central Michigan, and the lawyer said, in Michigan, you can keep the money. Finders, keepers, losers, weepers.
Okay.
But then Kirby said, what would Jesus do? And
Jesus would give you that money.
No, Jesus would give it back to the rightful owner. I think Jesus would give it to charity. No? It would help needy people.
So how about if he's...
What about help needy people?
Okay, what if he obviously said he was needy. So if Jesus provided that money for him in that couch, that's Jesus providing it to the needy.
I don't know if Jesus... Listen, what do I know what Jesus would do? But I think I would have to go speak to a priest or a pastor to ask what Jesus would do.
Who's to say that Jesus wasn't trying to bless you?
Right. I would think that Jesus would say, help the needy, help the poor.
Guess what? My bank account is needy for that $40,000.
So Kirby,
Jesus is blessing me. I'm taking it as a blessing from Jesus.
So you would take it as a blessing
from Jesus? Yes.
Yes. Okay. Isn't that a bit selfish?
Do I look like Mother Teresa? I need help too.
Know. So Kirby, let me tell you what he did. He got in touch with the thrift store, and they located the Newberry family who had donated the couch last month, and it was from the grandfather. The grandfather was stuffing the couch with money that he earned. It was not drug money. Now, as tempting as it was to keep it, Kirby says he knows that returning the money was what he needed to do. He says, I know how it is to lose something and never get it back. I've heard about it happening before, and I always thought, what would I do if I found that money? So he says it makes him feel good. I don't know if the family even knew they lost the money.
So wait, the grandfather was still alive.
Dawn Harriet agrees with you. Jesus provided that money for him as a blessing.
There you go.
All right,
the grandfather passed away. The grandfather saved
and Rob J. Roberts. Everyone says keep the money.
Absolutely. Listen,
I would have donated it.
Yeah, you know why?
If anything,
because you don't need that. Me, I do. So I'm taking it as a blessing. Jesus, thank you. I be praying for stuff like this. Who's to say that he didn't put it there for your own blessing?
I don't know.
Even give some off to tithing if you want. There you go.
I would
give
given 10%
it to charity. To tithing.
All right, and finally, Awkwafina. You know
yes.
who she is, right?
Yes.
She's the recent Golden Globe winner. She got snubbed for the Academy Awards.
Yes.
For the Farewell.
Yes.
But she's a Queens native. Her actual name is Nora Lum, and she is temporarily the new voice making all the announcements on the 7 train that goes from Queens into New York. Now, Yo-Yo, you've taken that 7 train.
I did for you guys.
Right,
that's
for Bradshaw Live.
That's the only time I've been on
Right.
that.
You have gone, it's the international train, and you went eating in every stop.
Mm-hmm.
So the train is known as the I'm calling it the International Train. It's known as the International Express. And because the line goes through Queens' most ethnically diverse neighborhoods. So yesterday morning, the announcement blaring from the 7 train speakers confused many riders with Awkwafina's upbeat voice. Do we have the announcement?
The next stop is Hudson Yards, 34th Street. This is Hudson Yards, 34th Street.
That's
Hope
awesome.
you like weird architecture. This is Grand Central, 42nd Street. Go for the train, stay for the large clock. This is Vernon Boulevard, Jackson Avenue. Hey fellas, stop manspreading. Thanks and have a great day. This is Times Square, 42nd Street, where New Yorkers go to relax.
This is Fulton Street, where you get off and you go 1 block to find Yo-Yo and Brad on Bradshaw Live.
I like that. You know.
Thanks for watching. For more Bradshaw Live, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.